Mm-hmm.
So can you give me your name and your profession?
My name is Doug Creighton. My profession, I guess, would be store owner. Owner, manager of the Button Box.
So how'd you get started with the Button Box?
I got started as a customer. I had bought an instrument that I needed to have restored, and so I sent it to this business in the late 1980s, and I struck up a friendship with the owner.
How'd you get started playing accordion?
I was a Morris dancer, and the kinds of instruments that we sell here are popular for providing music for Morris dancing. And so I had been playing flute for Morris dancing, which didn't really cut it. So I got a button accordion to do that, and that's how I started playing and how I started sending instruments here to get fixed.
So what's your favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job? I enjoy helping customers. I enjoy doing sales, finding out what people want, what kind of music they like to play, trying to match up the right instrument to the right person. I think that's my favorite part. Other than Donut Day. We have Donut Day once a month. I also like Donut Day.
Can you tell me about the different kinds of accordions here?
Yeah. We have accordions and we have concertinas. They all make sound the same way. But for accordions, we have diatonic accordions. Can I show you some? So this is a diatonic accordion. Buttons on both sides. Each button plays 2 notes. Different one when you push and pull on the bellows. These come in 1 row, 2 row, 3 row. It refers to how many rows of buttons there are over here. It's sort of like a harmonica with bellows. So the more rows you have, the more keys you can play in. And they're made in specific keys. And we have piano accordions. They're the kind that most people think of. That have piano keys on one side, buttons on the other side. We sell all different sizes of those. And we also sell button chromatic accordions. I don't have one right here. They're very popular in Europe. They have buttons on both sides like the diatonic ones, but they play the same note whether you push or pull.
Can you show me one of the concertinas real quick?
Sure. This is what they call an Anglo system concertina. This one happens to be made here by us. Anglo concertinas work a lot like these diatonic accordions. Each button plays 2 notes. I got the same notes on both instruments. What a coincidence. So low notes on the left-hand side, high notes on the right side, and you can play melody with one hand, chords with the other, and they give you a different, as I said, a different note when you push and pull on the bellows. I happened to pick up one of our new models, which is a baritone concertina. So it actually sounds an octave lower than the more standard models we make. Here's one that sounds an octave higher. that's that.
Can you tell me a little bit how an accordion works?
Sure, there are little metal tongues, usually steel, that vibrate when a stream of air is forced against them, and they vibrate at a certain rate depending on whether they're a big reed or a small reed. Bigger ones vibrate slower and have a lower pitch of sound. Smaller reeds vibrate faster and have a higher note. And instruments like these have one reed for each note that sounds. So that usually adds up to a couple of hundred reeds for an accordion like this, or maybe 100 reeds for a concertina like that I just played. Actually, I can tell you, 62. So they are in the same family as pump organs, harmonicas, melodicas. They all make sound the same way with these little reed tongues.
So I guess you told us that you also play flute. What's your repertoire of instruments?
Well, that I currently play, I have 2 or 3 different kinds of concertina and button accordion that I like to play. I like to play French Canadian music and English music and a little bit of Irish. I don't play that as much. And then I also play flute and piccolo. That's mostly for English country dancing. Sort of classical, I guess you'd call it classical music that I play on the flute. When I was in high school, I played other things. I played bagpipes, cello. Don't do that so much anymore.
So what do you do in terms of music outside of the shop?
I play for dances, mostly. Contra dances, English country dancing, which I mentioned before. That's a style of, I guess you'd call it folk dancing or traditional dancing, that goes back to early, maybe I should say mid 17th century England. They were mostly social dances from that time period. And I have played for different kinds of English folk dancing as well. Morris dancing, Northwest processional clog dancing, sword dancing, stuff like that.
Oh, wow. So are there any interesting stories behind the shop or in your line of work?
Oh, lots of interesting customers. We get, it's not a mainstream instrument, and the people that play them tend to be not really mainstream people. So lots of characters, too many to list. The business was started, I'll tell you a little bit about the history of it, was started by a fellow named Rich Morse, who was an architect by trade, and he played these instruments for fun. He started repairing them as a hobby, and pretty soon was getting more people sending him their instruments to fix than he had time for. So his hobby turned into this business, and he started employing people to do his hobby for him. So I worked for Rich for almost 20 years. He passed away about 5 years ago, and he left the business to me. So I'm the second owner, but I started out as an employee here.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a important question I'm forgetting. Oh, so on top of the shop, what's the repair section like?
Well, we do have the business divided pretty much into 2 areas. There's the store. We handle all of the customer sort of requests and We manage the website, we answer emails on the phone and that sort of thing. And we also have the instruments here on display. The shop is where we repair instruments, both instruments that we are going to put up on the shelf here for sale that need to be repaired before they're sold. We also do customer repairs, and we also make concertinas there. We have a line of concertinas that we started making about 15 years ago, and they've been very successful, and we sell them all over the place.
What's your favorite part about making concertinas?
Well, unfortunately, I don't. I don't make concertinas. I'd love to, but so far I've had to employ other people to make concertinas because I'm busy over here in the store side of things. I do some repair work though. When I started working here, I was spending about half my time doing repair work. Nothing in particular about that. Well, as far as repairs are concerned, I really like figuring out what's wrong. I'm probably better at figuring out what's wrong than actually fixing what's wrong because I don't get as much practice at it as I used to.
Cool, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.